Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and I've been covering as many updates as I could for BFA. In this video, I want to cover all the different methods we currently have in Battle for Azeroth for the patch 8.0.1, all the things you can do in order to grind out gear, be it for your mains or your alts. In this video, I'll try to talk about all the different methods, from the weekly methods, as in something you just do occasionally, to the daily methods. If you have a way to grind daily, maybe a couple hours before going to work, this is some of the things you can do in order to help you guys get as much gear as possible. The more gear you do, the more damage you do, more healing you do, and better damage you can take as a tank. So getting gear is going to be something a lot of us will be doing for quite a while. So let's get into the video. Let's first start with the occasional, once in a while type of methods. And these are the things that you guys should do at least once a week. The first one is watch out for war fronts whenever those are available. War fronts kind of go between the Horde and Alliance. At one point, the Horde will be able to attack the war front and then hold the region. You'll be able to have all the war quests available, as well as the event of attacking the war front itself will reward a little bit of loot. Every time the warfront is first time available, there will be a quest for free 370 item level piece of gear. The gear will be chosen at random, so it could be bracers, boots, or even an Azerite piece of gear. And they'll be all in the fashion of the warfront gear, which looks very similar to the PvP gear. When the warfront is no longer in the war phase, as in you actually go do the event, you'll have access to the world quest in the zones, you'll have access to the rares in the zones, so take advantage of them whenever possible. Now, warfronts will be available for faction at a specific time. So when the Alliance has the warfront, they'll be able to engage with those events. The Horde won't have anything to do with it. Then, after a while, when the other faction gets the resources together in order to push back for the warfront to take it over, they'll be able to engage in the event as well as the world quests afterwards. So this is the type of system that kind of just one side gets it, then the other, then one, then the other. So it helps you if you have any alts on both factions. So if you haven't leveled an Alliance and a Horde character yet, I think it's the time. Definitely worth doing. The second part that you should do once a week is a world boss. World bosses are going to be accessible for the whole week, and people generally get parties together to do them at any time of the day, but the best time to do it is when it just drops. So be sure to take a look at your map to find the purple area, the purple point for the world quest that will mark where the world boss is at. Go there, join a group or whoever's available at the time, and just try to tag the world boss. If you can tank it or heal it, you'll help out the team. If you can do a severe, decent amount of damage to it, then you'll be able to take it down faster. But if you don't have any gear, don't worry about it. Just come in, do your best, and you will have a chance to get some free loot out of it. Then comes the weekly chests. There's two chests available in Battle for Azeroth. The first chest you'll want to do is a Mythic Plus chest. The way Mythic Pluses work is, the higher you can get a Mythic Plus dungeon completed, not on time but just to the finish, the better the reward will be for the weekly. The other chest that's available is a weekly Conquest chest. This is the PvP chest that you should probably try to fill up every single week. The way you do this is by farming Conquest points, and Conquest points can be gotten from doing BGs, arenas, world PvP, so there's many ways to farm Conquest. Just engaging in any kind of PvP scenario grinds your Conquest, which is very easy to do. Then comes raids. You should try to get your raids done at least once a week, and there's multiple difficulties to each raid. Now Blizzard is starting to unlock the LFR version of the raid, so if you have at least 320 item level, you can participate in LFR. LFR will give you very much watered down basic mechanics for all of the fights. Generally fairly easy for anybody who is not experienced with raids or doesn't have the gear to make it happen. But if you're someone who has decent gear and experience with your class, you should definitely jump into normals. Normals are fairly easy with this raid tier. Heroics are a little bit more challenging, and then the mythics should be unlocked right afterwards. So try to find a difficulty that works for you. I would try to avoid LFR if possible, unless this is like your only result or the only opportunity. Because LFR, you're coming into a situation where the expectations are fairly low. The higher you can do the difficulty, the better the rewards will be, so that's something to watch out for. Outside of raids, you also have Mythic Plus dungeons. Whether you're running a Mythic Plus 0 with all the rewards that come from each boss, or a Mythic Plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, or even 10, however many you want to run, you can spam Mythic Plus dungeons as long as there is a key available. With those dungeons, you're trying to get it done for completion, but also trying to time them as fast as possible. If you're able to time them way over the needed method, you can get a bunch of gear. If you're timing it just in time, you'll at least get some drops, and if you fail the time, you'll get a few pieces of gear. Not everybody is going to get a piece, but the better you do at these Mythic Pluses, the better the gear will be, and more gear will drop. So if you're someone who has a group that maybe can run Mythic Plus 5s and you can time them every single time, it might be more efficient. If you're someone who doesn't have the gear or the experience, 2s might be up your speed. The higher the number you go with, the better the gear is going to be though. So if you can invest the time into your group, into your character, and learn the fights and the different affixes and how they change up the mechanics, then you'll be able to get better time and therefore get better gear. Outside of Mythic Pluses, you can also do arenas. I noticed that arenas, out of all the aspects of PvP, be it Battlegrounds, be it Epic Battlegrounds, arenas tend to reward you a fair amount of gear, and fairly good gear, depending on your rating. The higher your rating, very similar to Mythic Pluses, the higher the level of your key, the higher your rating for arenas, the better the chance that you have for a higher item level piece of gear. So if, let's say, you're like 1200, you're gonna get maybe like a 350, but if you're like 1600, you're gonna get like a 370 or 355, 360, anywhere along those numbers. So the higher you go in terms of your rating, the better you are at the game, the better the gear drops that can be. The only problem with arenas though is it's still very RNG on the gear drops. I feel like there's a lot more gear that drops compared to Legion, but it's still very RNG. So sometimes you might get like 3 games that drop you a piece, and then the next 3 might drop you nothing. So it's not a guarantee. Outside of all that, you can just do world quests. World quests are always available for you guys, and they try to adjust pieces of gear depending on your item level. So let's say you make a brand new character and you have maybe 300 item level for your tune. It'll try to give you gear that's like 305, maybe 310s. After you grind yourself maybe 10 more item level, the gear will change. It will try to drop you 315s, maybe even an occasional 320. And all of them are at 315, 320 plus. That means there's a potential that they all can warforge, get an extra socket, maybe become, you know, have extra speed, avoidance, and vulnerability, or maybe even Titan Forge to be a nice purple piece of gear. Not only should you be looking for pieces of gear, but also you should be looking for Azurite. As in, the more Azurite you put into your necklace, the more item levels your necklace is going to get, which is also a piece of gear. So don't always look for just gear from World Quest. Azurite is another currency you will probably want to look for, as it'll buff your necklace, which buffs your secondary stats, which is part of the gearing process. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully this video gave you guys a few ideas of what you can do for your mains and or alts in order to help you gear up. These are all the current available methods we have right now, and I'm pretty sure as Blizzard adds more catch-up mechanisms into the game, there'll be a lot more. So I'll try to update this kind of style of video from time to time depending on the patches, but hopefully this at least gives you guys an idea where you can start in terms of your weeklies as well as dailies, what you can do for your character in order to grind up a little bit extra gear. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, I very hope you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you guys in another one.